Welcome back to In the Ring with Termite and Mr. S. Mr. S, we got another incredible interview today.
Yes, we do. We have Brenda Myers with us.
Hello.
She is the executive director, and make sure I get this right, of the Community and Children's Impact Center.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Awesome. In Shepherd, Texas.
Yes.
Shepherd, Texas, and I've known Brenda for...
Since high school.
Yeah, since high school.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on this venture with her of what she's doing in East Texas.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, let's go back in time. You went to North Shore.
I did.
And you lived across the street from the Doves. Tell that little story. I get a kick out of it.
You know, it's really funny because it's kind of coming full circle because Termite and I had familiar friends, Joe Dove and Tina Dove.
Who got me in boxing.
And got him in boxing.
The Joe Dove story.
I used to live across the street from him, and I used to see you coming to their house with these little bags over your shoulder. And I kept saying, oh, that's a cute guy. But of course, I still played with Barbie dolls. And so, but to have that connection so far back, knowing you, I think God truly put us together for this journey today. Yeah. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Fun.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a journey, so we're going to talk quite a bit about it.
Yes, sir. I'd like to start a little bit about, when I was young and how I was timid at first, but bullying actually is what got me on my mission. Okay. I could remember the days of watching people get beat up quite a bit. My sister was in 7th grade, I was in 9th grade, and this bully come up and punched her in the face. And I made a commitment at that time that I would no longer let people just pick on people for no reason. And I know this is crazy, but I went out and collected Coke bottles. I raised enough money to get my own T-shirts, and they were called the Thugettes. Remember the Thugs at North Shore High School?
Yeah.
And so we were called the Thugettes. And so when there was trouble to be foreseen if they were made fun of or whatever, they would come and get the Thugettes. And I know that's a terrible way to do things, but it started me on a journey of a mission of fighting back for people who couldn't defend themselves.
Raising funds and organizing, what you do now professionally.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
And she's still on that journey, fighting for people. And I just appreciate so much what you do.
Thank you.
I got to tell you about one of the great things that she does, that she gets a lot of kids and hug a tree, kiss a fish.
Hug a tree, kiss a fish, yes, sir.
All right, hug a tree, kiss a fish. How many thousand?
3,400 is what our last number was before we quit doing it.
Yeah, wow. It was awesome. She brought kids out to where they actually got to fish, touch trees, hold a fish. Yeah. That was pretty awesome time.
That story was really crazy because I believe that God puts this journey in our path. It's kind of like, I didn't even know it that day. I took off from work. 6-year-old boy come out of the store, asked his father to take him fishing. The man said he couldn't do it. And God spoke to me. And I walked over to the truck and I tapped on the window and I said, sir, I don't understand. Why can't you take him fishing? He said, my wife just passed away. I have 5 children and I'm probably going to lose my job. Oh, wow. So I started contacting all of my celebrity friends, my sisters and all that, and we got some fishing poles. Bass Pro pitched in. It went from 100 to 700 to 900 to 3,400, and Termite and all my celebrity friends made it even more special. And until my granddaughter's boyfriend committed suicide in 2019, and that was the last opportunity. But Derek and all of them was trying to get me to start it up again, and that might be something in the future. But thank you for mentioning that.
So it is in your heart to just help people in need.
It. Yes, sir. That's a passion.
Another thing she does, and I'll let her talk how much she wants to on this, but she's helped a lot of kids, a lot of adults that's had drug problems, major drug problems, and she's been able to help them. And do you feel comfortable to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, as a matter of fact, Thursday night was probably my turning point. One of the gentlemen that came to the meeting and spoke, his stepfather was the biggest drug dealer, Aryan Brotherhood, all of that, of San Jacinto County. The man has passed since, but this young man was brought to me 5 years ago at a court order. We were standing here and we were having a conversation. He reaches in his pocket to hand me the paperwork to sign from the judge, and an 8-ball of meth falls out on the ground. Wow. I said, young man, looks like we got a couple decisions to make. Either you're going to jail or you're going to throw that stuff in the trash. He told last night that was the start of his brand new journey when I insisted that he throw that dope away. I mentored with him through Jesus Christ and stuff, and so he's been clean now ever since. And to hear his testimony, Termite, to know that Jesus and my group and everybody was responsible for a life that's going to be able to live a successful life from this point on. It's priceless. I can't even. Cool? I'm just grateful that I had that opportunity.
Yeah. And is that through what you're doing now with the Impact Centers? I know you do so many different things helping people.
It's a program called Get It Off Your Chest. Is what we're doing
and
right now.
It's underneath this organization.
Yes, sir.
So tell us more about this organization. What do you formally organized for? What is your mission?
Yeah. I started this many years ago when I felt the need that things were going on in our communities, and I started in my backyard. Now, see, I wasn't always a good girl. I had an 11-year drug problem,
Wow.
and I like to share that with people because sometimes you have to go through these bad things to get to where God is going to place you at. If you've never been an
And it
alcoholic.
keeps you real.
Yes.
And you could relate to
Yes,
the people you're helping.
Absolutely. That is so true. And so through that journey, I learned a lot of valuable things. And so I implemented it into this program and started in my backyard. I had no idea what I was supposed to be doing. I took 10 kids and then 20 kids and then 50 kids, and then they all started coming to my house. And I knew that there was something I was supposed to be doing, but I still wasn't sure.
Now, talk about what you started in your backyard. What did you actually start?
My son, first of all, came to me, and he has special needs, and he wanted to build a haunted house in my backyard. And I was like, what do you need? He said, hammer, plastic, and nails. I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning 2 weeks later to the sound of a chainsaw, and in my pajamas walked out on this porch, and I see this light, and I walk out and I open up this fence, and they had built a 2.5 acre maze out there. And I thought, I'm standing in my nightgown, crying my eyes out, and I said, all right, Lord, if my son can do this, now you got my attention.
Yeah.
And stuff.
So that was your
And
inspiration.
that was an inspiration in itself because God spoke to me on these different terms all throughout my life. And so, people used to tell me you could hear God speaking, but I never did connect until now that I know exactly where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be doing.
And the inspiration comes from the most unlikely places
Absolutely,
sometimes.
it does. And then I changed my life after being on drugs for 11 years, and I was at an anniversary party, minding my own business, and I had just got out of a vehicle, and a lady doing 100 miles an hour running from a state trooper hit a culvert and went airborne. And when she did, she hit my girlfriend's car first, hit it so hard, spun it around. I was in between both those cars. This is the second time I met Jesus. That car hit me and threw me 150 feet up into the air. I came down and I watched my girlfriend die, bodies laying all over the ground. And 2.5 years in and out of the hospital, God came to me in that hospital room.
Wow.
And he said, you're going to work with kids. And I'm like, that's not happening. I kept dreaming the same dream over and over again until one morning at 5 o'clock in the morning in that hospital room, I opened up the drawer and there was a gray Crayola and a piece of paper, and I drew the building that I'm in now. Had no idea what it was
Isn't that
supposed to mean.
incredible?
And so you were fighting against it. It's not like you just
Yes.
magically, okay, I'll do it.
I wasn't
There was a
gonna do it.
resistance. It was a process.
Yes. I mean, I actually didn't feel that I was competent enough to be able to hold on to a position of other people's lives, be responsible and stuff for all the commitment that
kinda
it goes
scary,
on.
big
It was really scary.
responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what's cool about this is I've known her then, now, and so many great people, from models to athletes to business people, have always just seemed to show up
Yeah.
for you. What is it? Why does everybody love you so much?
And it's
I know
funny.
why I love you.
Yeah. Thank you.
But everybody loves you and wants to be a part of helping Brenda.
Yeah, and it's funny. I thought the same thing not too long ago. And last night in my meeting, one of the pastor's wives says, Brenda has this passion that you can feel from across the room. I'm not any different from anybody else. I had a learning disability when I was in school, so I had a difficult time learning. My sister made straight A's. My brother was a genius. I just could not find where I was supposed to be. And for the Lord to pick me out of all these crowds of millions of people all over the world, and he said, this is exactly what I want you to do. And I'm going to take you out of this life that you've been leading this wrong. You're not, and he placed me here. And so now I've had the most incredible opportunities to help change people's lives. And so
Tell everybody some of the people that have come to your rescue, that have helped you, from models to athletes. Tell some of the people that.
well, you first of all, because if it wouldn't have been for you, I don't think I would have had them doors open. But I'll never forget the beauty pageant for special needs kids that I did in Cleveland. And the girl we went to school with, and actually I beat her up in high school because she was picking on somebody, Denise Lewis.
Oh, and she was a $1 million
Beautiful.
model.
She dated Sean Connery and some of the people like that. And so I found her on Facebook, and she said, you need to get a hold of Termite Watkins. And I said, he's not going to have nothing to do with me. She said, let me call him. So she called you. He called me, and then Booker T started getting involved, and then Dan Pastorini came to some of our events.
Reggie
Airman Dixon, Reggie Johnson. I mean, it's just a privilege to...
Derek.
Derek Woods. I mean, and they all still support me and come out of our little town of Shepherd, and, and so it's an honor for these folks like that, the people from the Swamp People, Gator Boys, the Gator Boys out of Florida, all of them. Yeah. And so they
bring gators down.
Yeah.
That's fun.
everything.
So we have a lot of fun and things that we do, and I'm just blessed. Is all I can say.
What are some of the things you are doing? Tell us about the different missions.
The one program that I really would like to speak to people about that is really making a difference. In 2019, my granddaughter's boyfriend, she was a cheerleader and he was a football player, committed suicide. And so that became really close to me. It took a breakdown of our community, a breakdown of me and my granddaughter, and I thought I was going to lose her at one point. And one day this man come up to my shop on a bicycle and he said, I need to speak to Mrs. Myers. And I said, I'm Brenda Myers. And he said, ma'am, I've been stealing off your back dock. And I said, well, that's the first anybody's ever admitted to me, sir. And he said, no, ma'am, you don't understand. See, the judge gave me community service, and I came in here, and you wasn't here that day. And people kept saying how you feed people, how you help kids. And he said, truthfully, ma'am, I just needed to get it off my chest. And I said, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. And so ever since then, for the last 2.5 years, I pick a topic each week on Thursday at 6:30. Last week and stuff, it was on beauty. We talked about the rings in your noses, the rings in your belly, why these 10, 11, and 12-year-old girls are thinking about doing this kind of process and why.
Yeah.
I brought out my Mary Kay ladies to tell them that beauty starts inside. Right before the holidays, I had 14 kids on suicide watch. And I said, God, what do I do? And he said, take them to the cemetery.
Oh, wow.
I hired 3 actors. I hired Jesus Christ, the devil, and the Grim Reaper. I had took 17 kids out there to the cemetery, and when we got there, the kids were like, what are we doing here, Mrs. Myers? And I said, well, I understand that suicide is in y'all's thinking process, and I want to show you kind of what happens. I said, once you get here, that decision no longer belongs to you, but I'm going to introduce you to somebody today who's going to make those decisions for you. I handed them a piece of paper, and I made them start drawing their tombstones, and as they did, here comes the Grim Reaper. He flies up over them tombstones, and he said, I want you, and you.
Wow.
Come down with me, and kids started crying. So I knew then that this one word, this one decision affected 17 kids. And I'm going to make a long story short. When Jesus showed up at that cemetery, we saved 17 kids that day, and all my prayer warriors came out. So each week I might be Dr. Myers, and I'll say, I'm going to put a couch here. I want to know why you're mad. Just tell me what you're mad about and stuff. And then they talk about it. And as they talk about these issues, it goes away, and
She gets them talking.
Gets them out.
Gets them talking.
And you use power of art and drama and kind of getting people to visualize,
Yeah.
because some people, like you said, they think this could be a solution, and you get their minds to actually play it out and look, this is not really a solution. I love the creativity.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you.
Brenda, how many kids would you think since, 13, 14 years we've been doing this, have committed suicide?
Probably over 100.
Wow.
This is in a small area.
I mean,
Literally.
within Montgomery County.
this is a tiny town.
Yeah. I mean, in our town, probably 10. But the sad part about it is we don't have enough resources to address these type of things. See, y'all got it out here. Yeah. We don't have it there.
Speaking of resources, if people wanted to contact you and reach out and donate to your organization, how would they do that? And I want to tell everybody, this is a great place to put your money because you're helping our kids.
Yeah.
Our kids are our future. She's dealing with our future. So help her.
Right. Thank you.
How can they help you?
Well, we just got a brand new website thanks to Derek Woods.
Okay.
I got one more.
Derek Woods, football player.
Yeah,
by
he's
the way.
a former NFL player for the Detroit Lions. And so I'm starting a new process to get all that information. I got some of it here, and I'll tell you in just a second. But I want to back up just a second.
Okay.
Just a while back, I'm kind of the go-to person in the community. At 4 o'clock in the morning, I get a phone call from a woman who had been beaten so bad with a hammer, 3 children in the back of the car, and I got on my knees and I said, Lord, I've been doing this for 18 years. I need a miracle. I need a place for these people to go. 5 days later, this man walked in my shop and had bought a 7-bedroom house 2 blocks up from me. And I went and talked to him. After the conversation, he offered me the place for $130,000 instead of $187,000. First person I did, I posted on Facebook. Derek Woods contacted me, and he said, hey, girl, I'm in Puerto Rico. He said, I'm seeing you post on Facebook. He said, what do you need and how can I help? And I said, well, Derek, I need $130,000, and preferably by the end of the year. So then he calls some of his buddies and stuff, like George Foreman and his brother Roy and all them. So I'll be meeting with them soon. And so with all that being said, we don't have a location for these people to be for in emergency situations. And so Derek says, I'm going to start you a new website. And that's exactly what Derek did. And so y'all are going to get a chance to go to that. And it's www.impact, it's new, /ECC.org. Very, very simple.
Tell them that again. sir.
Impact-ECC, Emergency Crisis Center, heartwarming.org.
Maybe we can put that up for her
We'll put
at
that
the
in
end
the
of it.
like on
Thank
the
you.
post when we do
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
We'll
that'd
link.
be good.
Yeah, and so it's a new website that contains our past and our future and stuff. And so I'm pretty excited about it.
You know what's amazing, Mr. S, is that a lot of our people don't even realize that you've got the Brenda Myers behind the scene
Right.
that are doing so much. Thank you so much for all you do and all you've done for many, many years. And
I like it. I liken it to like a celebrity status, and I know you're not going to claim that label,
No.
but our kids today just look up to celebrities because someone can throw a ball through a hoop, and I'm not going to negate that's it's skill, it's
Yeah.
great, but people aren't really admiring people behind the scenes that doing what you're doing. You're saving lives, so I kind of want to switch the light on that. Let people see like you are making an impact in this world, and I think. Today, kids want to make a difference, make an impact. So that's why I love hearing your story. More people need to hear stories
Thank
like
you.
this.
yeah. Yeah. And again, everybody, if you're out there and if you have resources, help her. She's helping kids. She's saving lives. She's bringing Christ to them. She's feeding them. She's clothing them. And it's pretty incredible what you're doing. And I'm so proud
Thank you,
of you
Termite.
and what I've seen you do over the years.
know.
Especially that coming from that girl that did the drugs for 11 years.
Yeah, you were the troublemaker. You were the one.
Yeah, I fought through every situation. It has not been easy, and that's what I tell these young people now that have lost their fathers, that have mothers that are not the most appropriate moms in my community. That comes every time. I talked to our state representative the other day, and he had a big meeting, and I said, sir, I don't understand where we're going with truancy and things like that, because out of the 47 kids that come to my meetings, 6 can write their name correctly.
Wow.
And I said, so we have to have more input. In San Jacinto County, we don't have the resources that y'all have right here.
Yeah.
And so I need help desperately out there because even the food pantries have been shutting down out there in San Jacinto County. I had a woman come in yesterday, 80-something years old, eating cat food. That's just not something that we should be having to do. And so I
So
need
like a
help.
third world country right here in our
right
own
here in
state,
our yes, sir.
own country. That's sad.
Absolutely.
Can't let that happen.
So what's next for Brenda?
I'm glad you asked. With all that being said, we're going to open up the first ever emergency crisis center. We've planned some events that are coming up. We're going to do a casino night, March the 23rd. The Cleveland VFW Post 1839 is donating me the facility.
Okay.
And so once we get that up and running, we have now got a new executive team. I prayed about it. God has handpicked each one of them. We got the new CEOs. Safe House is training us for free. So we're going to implement all of their programs into ours, except ours is going to be a temporary emergency crisis center. While you're sleeping at night, these things are happening. 2 days ago, the manager at Subway said that she witnessed a lady getting beat up in the parking lot with her stuff being thrown out. They take the kid, the man drives off, and this woman has no place to go. And the manager of Subway has everything she owns in the back of the car.
Wow.
Now, if we'd have had that center open and running, and so I just want people to know that it's not going to be a homeless shelter and things like that. So that's going to keep me busy for a little while. But Derek and them have really been, asking me to start the Hug a Tree, Kiss a Fish Up, and that's going to run about $50,000 or $60,000 if we want to do it. But look how many kids we impacted and families that would have never had that opportunity to do something like that. So I got a few things that I'm working on. So I don't know.
Well, we're so glad to be a part of it. And, our show is about getting knocked down and coming back. I know there's been times, and I know you're very careful to talk about this, and I'm going to very carefully try to pull it out of you.
Okay.
But you've fought government, you've fought people, you've fought all kinds of people, and you've been knocked down. I mean, I can remember many times that I've seen you cry.
Oh, absolutely.
And but also the things that stay with me is that you always come back. You always come back. Can you tell us any of the low points that you
Yes.
got really? Because this whole show is about getting knocked down and coming back. When did you get knocked down and it really hurt?
When my granddaughter's boyfriend committed suicide.
Okay.
Because
Wow,
that was a
one hurt.
situation that I had no control over. See, I always thought that Brenda Myers has it under control and then I could handle any situation. But when it got out of my hands to the point where I was watching my granddaughter going down the same road and I had no control to help her. Instead of fighting with my fist and punching somebody out like I would 10, 15, 20 years ago, I had to fight on my knees.
Yeah.
And so I've learned through the people that come against me, I would cry. and I wouldn't come out, and I would let them intimidate me to the point where I just wanted to quit. And God said, I chose you for this mission. You are the person that I put in charge of this, and I'm depending on you to bring them soldiers. So stop whining, stop crying, and do what I ask you to do. I'm going to build your team. And sure enough, this year, I've gotten 22 new women on our team. So I'm just telling you, I'm not the most educated person in the cookie jar, and I'm not the most driving force in our community, but people are going to not have your vision.
Okay, so you've been knocked down.
Absolutely.
Now tell us some of the things that you've been awarded for. Brag on yourself a little bit.
Well, you know,
Come
I
on,
like to do that.
brag on it.
Well, I have won the Halliburton Hometown Hero Award at one point in my life. One of my directors wrote a story about me, and I had no idea until, and it's funny, you know, I'm a talker, and so that was probably one of the most embarrassing time of my lives because they put me on this big old Amatron at the Reliant Stadium, and the cameras were everywhere, and the guy comes up to me, and he said, now, you're going to be on this big Amatron thing. He said, so I'm going to count, and when you do, say whatever you want. Termite, have you ever known me not to be able to say anything? The guy goes, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I go. That's all I can do in front of thousands of people. You know, my mom said that's the first time you had the opportunity to say anything, and that's all you could do. And I said, you know, even I get scared at times, but you know, so that was one of my special times in my life, and grateful for. And then last year we have a thing in our community called Best of San Jacinto County, and my special need young man Teddy Elliott, he's been with me for 10 years, and he won Volunteer of the Year. And that's not just of Shepherd, that's all of San Jacinto County. And I won Citizen of the Year. And we won Best Resale Shop, runner-up, and then we won Best Civic Organization. And so even though things are not always the way we want it, what you do is consistent, and you stay. Nobody can tear you down. You know,
Don't quit. Yeah.
So you don't quit. You just don't.
What's
quit.
the name of your shop? Let's promote.
The Impact Thrift Shop.
Impact Thrift Shop.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if you're in
Shepherd,
Texas, go by the Impact.
Yeah.
And what's that address?
1020 North Bird in Shepherd.
Pretty easy.
Yep.
1020.
Yep. You know, so we got all the frontage road there, and it's crazy. We're building quite a bit. Right before the holidays last year, one of my kids got ran over. They were out front playing basketball, and I really need some help on this. And the ball rolled out a little ways, and the lady swerved off the road and hit him. And of course, I had a conversation with God, and I said, Lord, I need more property. I can't keep these kids right here on this frontage roads because their liquor store's right across the street, so it's kind of trafficky. And a few weeks later, this man calls me up, and I hear a voice on the other line and says, hey, Mrs. Myers, you know God loves you? And I said, excuse me, who is this? He said, let me start this conversation over. Hi, my name is Gil Smith, and I own all the property behind you. And I've been watching you for quite some time. One building goes up, another building goes up, and another building goes up. And he said, truthfully, ma'am, we just want to be your blessing. He said, we'd like to sell you all that property for $21,000. And I said, right in the middle of town, sir? My property in Sherry Creek's costing me $50,000. And he said, like I said, God loves you. And about that time, I hear a voice behind me, and the guy says, Miss Myers, I want to give you the $21,000. Just seal the deal.
Wow.
And I turned
Isn't that
around,
incredible?
and tears are rolling down my face. And I'm like, why would you want to do that? Because I want to be a part of that blessing, because you're going to get it done. So the next day, they brought a $21,000 cashier check, and we now own all that property behind us.
That's incredible.
So
Isn't that
I'm
pretty
waiting
cool?
on somebody to help me build a indoor facility for these young people out there. So.
And if they want to get in touch with you one more time before we shut her down, how
my
can-
number is actually 936-499-2632. So I need an army out there, guys. I need some help. So
Tell us one more time that number, and then also your website.
Yep, 936-499-2632. And the website is www.impact-ecc.org.
Awesome.
Was
Well,
it
this
good?
has been an inspiration. I thank
Thank
you so
you.
much for coming on, Brenda, and sharing
Thank
this.
you.
Hopefully, some of our watchers can see some of this and be some of the blessing that we're talking about.
I want to put my 2 cents in there. If there's somebody out there that you've got some funds that you can bless her with, help her out. She's helping so many kids, adults, babies. I've seen babies. She's feeding everybody, clothing. Help her. This is where you can put your money. It's a write-off to you.
You can make an impact.
use it. You can make an impact. Saying that, let's close it with...
Let's close it out with our tagline.
Yeah, we always keep our guard up.
So life's tough. You got to keep your guard up.
Yeah,
Gotta keep your guard up.
absolutely. Whoop.
You got it.
Gotcha.
You got to keep your guard up.